Alright, what's going on, guys? We have another chance coming up when we could potentially see some new Elden Ring gameplay. I know we're like 0-4 on all these past Bandai Namco showings, but there are some really good signs pointing to this one that nobody seems to be talking about. So we're gonna break all of that down today, and then I want to discuss what we can expect in the coming months before release. But as always, before we get started, guys, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I do my best to keep you guys up to date with all the latest Elden Ring news, and we're about to have some big Souls-related community projects going on that you're gonna want to be involved in, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But now let's get into the news. A few days ago, Bandai Namco announced that they're gonna be having a panel at New York Comic Con. Now, I highly doubt I have to explain what Comic Con is to you guys, but it's a big celebration of games, movies, comics, and anime, and some publishers take this opportunity to announce new games and show new trailers for their games, which is why this announcement has everybody excited. Now, small Comic Con events take place all over the country, but the New York Comic Con is definitely one of the biggest, if not the biggest. So there is going to be a sizable audience if they do decide to show the gameplay there. But the line in the tweet that has everybody kind of going crazy is that it says, "Come check out new footage of our upcoming games." So if you really want to be a theorist about it, we can take that as meaning games that have already been announced and are not out yet, and games that have already had footage shown for them, but still have room to be expanded upon. Now, what game checks literally all of those boxes? Elden Ring. So that's a pretty decent sign right there, but there's one more thing that gives me a lot of hope that we really might see the gameplay in this Bandai stream, and that is taking a look at the new and upcoming games for Bandai Namco. If we look at their release calendar on their website, the only two games with defined release dates are Super Robot Wars 30, which I have never even heard a peep about, and Elden Ring. Now, there are a few points of contention with this list that I want to point out real quick. This list does not include DLCs for games. However, the only one that I could find coming out before Elden Ring is a DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And their website does not display a release date for House of Ashes, which is why it doesn't appear before Elden Ring, and that game is supposed to be coming out on the 22nd of October, but Bandai has already been marketing that game very heavily, and they have already released an hour-long gameplay segment of it. I know a big reason why people don't think Elden Ring is going to be there is because Bandai Namco likes to push anime games like crazy, but I did my digging on the internet and I can't find any that are coming out before Elden Ring, so unless they have something that they haven't announced yet, I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, if we want to look into the history of the past FromSoftware releases being at New York Comic Con, I believe both Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro had panels, and Dark Souls 3 was actually playable at the New York Comic Con panel before release. But as we can clearly see, Elden Ring is not following any of those patterns. So here's the situation. Unless there's new games that they're not putting out on their website, we have three other possibilities instead of Elden Ring being shown on this Bandai stream. They could show the Dragon Ball Z DLC, and I doubt they'd have the entire panel dedicated to that. They could show more House of Ashes, but that game's already had its time in the sun, and I don't think Super Robot Wars 30 is going to be much competition here. So I doubt they dedicate the whole panel to one game, or they do a combination of all three of those, but either way, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good chance of having Elden Ring there. I'm not going to make my mind up one way or the other, but time is running out. We still don't have digital pre-orders available, and this game has got to start being marketed to the average consumer. You know, we, the hardcore fans that have been digging into this game like a religion, still have so many unanswered questions. And if we feel like we're in the dark, just imagine how somebody who's not a FromSoft fan feels. They've mentioned several times that they want Elden Ring to be their biggest release yet, and right now, I don't think they're on track for that. Now, obviously, the initial marketing of Silence worked great, and it did amazing bringing in the hardcore FromSoftware fans, but that's not what we have to think about right now. What's going to make Elden Ring their biggest release yet are the consumers who haven't played Dark Souls or haven't played Bloodborne, but have maybe heard several times how amazing they or are a fan of Game of Thrones and have heard about George R.R. Martin and his work. That's the money they need to be targeting right now. They don't really need to worry about us. We're already gonna buy the game. But if they want to focus on us, the hardcore consumer, we need to start seeing different editions of the game we can buy to give them more money. So what would make the most sense is to maximize the time of squeezing out all the money they can from the hardcore fans and allowing them to buy more than just the game, and then trying to rope in as many of the new consumers as possible and getting them to watch more than just one trailer and actually learn about the game. So this tactic of silence works great for the hardcore fans, but not the external consumer. By this point, I believe it's safe to assume that we're not going to get a network test. We still could, but I doubt it's gonna happen further than a month before release. We're still working with the same tools as Dark Souls 3 and they're used to that and they know how it's gonna perform, and with even less players in a game this time, there's not as much to worry about. So here's how I see the months until release going. I highly doubt we make it to November without seeing the gameplay. Bandai knows we want it, they've acknowledged it, if even in a tongue-in-cheek way, but it's acknowledgement nonetheless. I doubt they'll do any big community marketing campaigns. I think the Fan Art Fridays are their way of doing that, and the time is long past. So I think between now and release we get the gameplay, we maybe get 1 or 2 more trailers, and I think we see a heavy advertising campaign with the Summer Games Fest trailer. I think it's just way too strange for them not to market to the average consumer that doesn't know about the other FromSoftware games. There's too much money to be made, and with Martin's name attached to it, I just don't see why not. And if we do get a network test, I think it might be a weekend or 2 before release. Now I can't explain their reasoning behind this, but you know, we are making video after video about it, so I guess it's working for them. Now for New York Comic Con, I'd say I'd give it like a 30 or 40% chance of being there, but you know, for Elden Ring, that's pretty high. Now I have a community project I want to announce to you guys. We as a group are going to be writing our own Souls lore. Right now we haven't worked out the specifics, but what I can tell you is that you are going to be the characters. Now obviously we can't have 10,000 characters, but if you want a chance to be one of the characters in the story, be sure to join the Discord, and that will be linked in the pinned comment. But anyways guys, that's going to pretty much do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.